Police officers of Reddit, what was your, they could have gotten away with it if they had kept their mouth shut moment? I was asked to help keep peace while two probation officers searched a guy's house. Before everyone gets upset, in most jurisdictions, you have to submit to a search of your person and your home if you're on probation. During the search, a PO lifted the probationer's mattress and said monotonously, "Wow." The probationer got upset and said, "Yeah, it's duckin' meth and a gun. Arrest me, I don't give a duck." Turns out the PO found a huge dildo, but after the guy opened his mouth, the PO lifted the mattress more and found a bunch of individually wrapped grams of meth and a Glock 17. The PO said that seeing the dildo was enough for him to ignore the mattress, but because the guy said something, he kept looking. That guy's attitude and his need to open his mouth got him 10 years in prison. Pull over this guy for expired tabs. Ask for his ID, and he's feeling around for his wallet. Can't find it. He says, man, one of you. It's cool." "Oh, what department?" "Oh, actually I'm a security guard, but same thing." I'm polite, "So where's your ID?" "Oh, it's in the," and he motions to the trunk. "It's in the trunk?" Double quotes, actually, no. My BS radar is going off. "Okay, want to get you ID out of the trunk?" "Nah, I don't have it." He starts looking around for another story to use. But now I know I'm supposed to stay out of the trunk. He's also not giving me any more information. "No ID. Then I have to take you in and get you fingerprinted. I'm going to get into that trunk one way or another." He's looking like he's lost. I ask him what's in the trunk, but he's not talking anymore. We pull him out and get him in cuffs. Another officer takes him to get ID through fingerprints. Since his car is expired past 6 months California, we tow the car. In the process of getting ready to tow the car, we need to take a quick inventory. In the trunk was a police uniform with fake patches and a metal badge. No gun, but a duty belt. He also has stacks of CP. This is a guy who a neighboring city had been looking for months. His mo was to dress as a police officer, talk to kids, and you can figure out the rest. If he just gave me his name, I could have looked up his ID and verified he had one. I'd probably have let him go. But I'm a police officer in the UK. It was about 2 a.m., which meant street lights were off. As I was patrolling, I saw a vehicle drive with only his side lights on. Spun around, pulled them over. I asked for his license and it's a provisional. His co-pilot was 20 and didn't have a license, and the vehicle didn't have L plates. This means he's driving otherwise than in accordance of his license and also driving with no insurance, because as if he did have any insurance, driving otherwise than in accordance normally invalidates it. So, I got him in the back of my car to speak to him, start writing out a traffic ticket for no insurance, and was going to seize the car and let him off for driving otherwise in accordance. However, as I am writing the ticket, he says to me, "I shouldn't even be driving this car. My mate doesn't even know I took it." I just kinda pause. "I'm sorry, what?" "Yeah, my mate lives just up the road, and I was round his." He fell asleep, so I thought I'd just take the car and go for a ride. Right. I get another unit to go to the address, and the suspect's friend confirms he's not happy for him to be having the car, especially now that it's being seized. So now, instead of 6 points and a 200 pounds fine and a pissed off friend, he gets nicked for taking a vehicle without the owner's consent, driving otherwise than in accordance of his license, and for no insurance. He's been to court and received 6 points and just shy of 1,000 pounds in fines and costs, as well as a pissed off mate, and spent a night in a cell. Not me, but my dad. My dad was in an army helicopter unit assigned to local police to search for marijuana plants being grown in the rural parts of my state in the 1980s. One day, they found a decently sized gaggle of marijuana plants located just off the property of a farm. They landed the helicopter on the farm and talked to the farmer, asking him if he knew that someone was growing weed near his property. The farmer got scared and immediately confessed that they were his plants. He was arrested by the police. Oddly enough, if the farmer would have played dumb, the army and the police were just going to remove the weed and leave. No, a police officer, But I do know of this house in my local village that was a notorious drug den. The police came to search the place but couldn't find anything. As they were leaving, the lovely owner yelled at them that they should have brought the drug dogs. So, yeah, they came back a few days later with the drug-sniffing dogs and found huge amounts of drugs hidden away. Absolute morons. He wouldn't have gotten away with it, but a patron of the bar that my sister worked at many years ago was stopped by the troopers while driving along next to the highway in the ditch. His explanation: "Officer, I'm way too drunk to be on the road." Not a cop, but a witness. During college, my friends and I would hang out outside and smoke hookah. Frequently, we would invite strangers who passed by to join, or campus police would casually chat with us as they made their rounds. So one time, group of freshmen walked past and asked to join. After about 15 minutes, the campus police car rolls up and the freshmen get visibly nervous. We tell them calm down. The cops are chill. As soon as the cop gets out of the car, one freshman bolts and makes it about 20 feet before the cop tackles him. We all clap and heckle the kid. Upon searching him, the cop finds a bunch of weed. Then he says, "You realize prior to running, I had no reason to be suspicious. I just wanted to talk to my friends over there," and points at us. The cop ends up writing a ticket and sends him off. A cousin of a friend of mine travels around the state to take in deadbeat dads. Gets to one place. A 4-year-old kid is home, dad isn't. So the cop starts talking to the kid, making sure he's okay and such. After a bit of this, kid says to cop, "Want to see my dad's secret garden?" Takes him to a closet with a false back. Opens it up to see a small pot farm. Guy gets home to a few cop cars and a few charges. I'm a nice guy, and I enjoy a chat. You'd be surprised how much this lowers someone's guard. Stood in full uniform. People will just start telling you things that could get them in trouble. Multiple times I had to tell people to shut up. It was usually petty things like where they hid their weed stash, that they'd got a bifta in their pocket for later. Not really worth the time and effort to deal with how skeezed we were. One time a guy really got himself in trouble by effectively telling me he had stolen property on him. I had to act on that one. Okay. So we had a DUI accident where a guy kept driving straight into the woods into a tree because his GPS was predicting a future street. He walked back to his hotel room and left his check-in papers in the car. So we go to the hotel and go to his room and knock on the door. He did not have to answer, but he did. He was pretty clearly drunk. I asked him if he had anything to drink since the accident. He did not have to answer, or he could have told us that he drank after the accident. He said, "No, I haven't had anything to drink since the accident." He said, "No, I haven't had anything to drink since the accident. And where I'm from you have 24-hour to report a property damage only accident. So it wasn't even a hit and run." But in his defense, he was drunk. Not a cop. I had a roommate in college that was no friend of mine. He got in a fight at a bar and was kicked out. He tried to go back into the bar and got thrown out again. But a cop happened to be driving by. The second time, cop told him to relax or he was going to be arrested. He told the cop to arrest him. Cop handcuffs him and puts him in the back of the cop car. Roommate then started banging on the window. Cop then recuffed him with his hands behind his back. Roommate's stupidity carried on for the next couple months. He was supposed to go to court over the whole thing, but didn't show up. Police showed up at his job, cuffed him and brought him to court. Judge told him he would have just received a slap on the wrist, but he now had to send him to jail for a couple days. He was scheduled to report to jail a week or two later, and he didn't show up for that either. By this time, he disappeared. I never saw the guy again. This is going to be buried, but it's funny. So here, I was a cop on an Air Force base in Alaska. 3 guys robbed our Class 6 store liquor, and we responded to the store, but got caught in traffic at a light on the way. So we were sitting there with lights and sirens on, trying to get people to move out of the way, when the back door to the car ahead of us opens, and a guy gets out and goes spread eagle against his trunk. Confused, we get out to see what was up, and realize that these were the robbers.